Hey there, welcome. Welcome to Rise and Receive. This is an opportunity in your day to stop whatever you're doing and explore how to receive fulfillment in your life by unlearning struggle. So today we are doing tip number 3 out of a 4-tip series on how to feel your peace and reclaim your power in the new year and beyond. And so if this is something that speaks to you, you'd like to feel more of your peace, you'd like to reclaim more of your power, then I invite you to settle in and receive what today's message has to offer you. So we've done tip number 1 around feeling your peace and reclaiming your power, and that was to understand where your true power lies. And tip number 2 was to reclaim your power to choose. I'll include links to those 2 videos above and below, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. And today we're going to talk about tip number 3, which is reclaim your environment. So we're going to talk about what environment is and why it's so important to feel your peace and reclaim your power so that you can really access your own inner resources to create the fulfillment in your life that you seek. So think about what in your life could benefit from you operating from more of a place of your own peace, or really knowing how to access your power and how much you could flourish, how much fulfillment you could experience, whether it's in the realm of relationships or work or money, or your body well-being, health, your sense of freedom, your sense of your ability to really live the life you want to live. So think about that, because it probably wouldn't be too difficult to understand, to explore that if I were more in touch with my peace and I was really able to access my own source of power, what would be possible? So that's what we're going to talk about today, is the tip of reclaiming your environment and how that plays into all of this. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I mentor ambitious, goal-oriented people to surpass their limits with ease and speed. And the way that I do this is I help you to see your blind spots, because if there's one thing that I've discovered after 25 years of coaching is that ambitious, goal-oriented people have a very specific and unique set of blind spots, that what occurs is those blind spots prevent them from seeing what they need to see. And this happens because ambitious, goal-oriented people, and I count myself as one of those, over-rely on doing. Okay, we operate more in life as human doings, and those doing skills, which have to do with a lot of thinking and a lot of action, are very important. We need effective doers in the world, but when you don't understand that you have this whole other skill set which comes from the power of being, then you're really operating at only like half of your resources. And so you'll be able to be successful, you'll be able to achieve goals, but you can only go so far, because you'll just keep doing what you know. But when you tap into this whole other skill that's from human beingness, and the primary skill that I teach is how to receive, because what I've learned is ambitious, goal-oriented people, most of us don't know how to receive. We are absolutely clueless. We know how to hunt, we know how to pursue, we know how to work hard, but we don't know how to actually stop all of that and receive what we've been working so hard for. That comes from the being skill. So I illuminate those blind spots, and then upper limits dissolve, and all kinds of things become possible and are manifested in inner world and outer world experience in ways better than we ever imagined. So that's what we're going to talk about today in terms of reclaiming your environment. So today we're going to talk about why reclaiming your environment is important to your peace and your power, what environment actually is, and how to optimize your environment. So first of all, why is your environment important? Well, some of you may have heard of the concept of nature versus nurture in terms of human development, psychology, personal empowerment, personal expression. Okay, so we all have a certain nature. That's how we're wired. It's our being. It's our nervous system. It's our temperament. It's whether we're extroverted and introverted, whether we get our energy from doing things or, being kind of linear and sort of oriented towards more object and, tactile or being creative or musical or mathematical. We have our nature, just the way we're wired, okay? And that has a lot to do with our power and our fullest self-expression. There's also nature, which is what is the environment in which you exist. Now, to a degree, we are products of our environment. Now, when we're children, we don't have a lot of say over our environment. And so the part that influences how we be in the world, how we express ourselves, is out of our control when we're children. And so we become conditioned and we have experiences, and then there's our parents and school and community or lack thereof. It might be a positive environment. It might be not so positive. It might be a very human and perfect mixture of all of it. Okay. But that really impacts who we are and how we express ourselves in the world. And as we become adults, consenting adults, we have an opportunity to, as we talked about in some of the first two tips, reclaim our power to choose. We can either be victims of our environment, or reclaim our power to choose by also connecting to the truth of where our power lies, which is in consciousness. So what happens is as we move through life, we have an environment in which we exist, which now points to the second point. What is your environment? Your environment is the space in which you be, the space in which you exist. And all of your waking hours and even your sleeping hours comes with an environment in which you are existing. Okay, now this environment can be one that is good for you and brings out your best, or not so good for you, which might hinder you or keep you small or limit you or cause you to falter. So either a faltering environment, one in which you falter, or one in which you flourish. Okay, so quite simply, what the environment is the place in which you exist. And your capacity to reclaim and feel your peace and reclaim and feel your power has a lot to do with what is the environment in which you exist every moment of your waking and sleeping sometimes life. Because if you have a poor sleeping environment and you don't rest well, that's going to also affect you. We're going to talk a lot about, though, your waking environment. So that's why it's important. That's what it is. Let's talk about now how to optimize your environment. An environment that allows you to flourish has a few elements, okay? One very important element is space. It's a physical space, okay? To the degree that you're able to create a physical space for you that's like a container with boundaries and uninterrupted, like you actually have boundaries around it, then that becomes optimized because you get to reclaim it. It's your space, okay? There's also the internal space of your awareness, which is a second part of an optimized environment. An optimized physical environment allows you to have much more choice, to be much more intentional about what you allow into your awareness. Now, our environment, when we're not intentional about it, is filled up with other people, is filled up with noise, is filled up with social media, is filled up with all kinds of things, all right? Some of it we allow in unconsciously. Some of it we might have difficulty because it's life circumstances, but you have an opportunity to start becoming aware of what is in your environment. So optimized environment is a space for you. It's time for you. It's conducive to being training your awareness, where you can actually, instead of just being like bombarded with stuff, you can actually start to harness the power of your awareness. Okay, it's your awareness, your space. And it's an environment that, however you define it, is nurturing. So time, space, room for your awareness, and it's nurturing for you. Okay, if you think about the majestic tree, which is the metaphor I use when I start talking about the power of being, okay, you can have an optimized environment for the majestic tree, which is plenty of space for the roots to grow, open, fresh air. There aren't a ton of weeds, there aren't other trees crowding it out. All of the elements, the water, the nutrients can come in. and it's able to spread out and receive. There's lots of room for it. But as that space gets either constrained because it's been growing in a pot and it needs room for the roots to grow, or it's being crowded out by weeds, or there's bulldozers coming in and tearing up the soil where the roots are so it's not as stable, those are elements in the environment where either the tree will falter or it will flourish. So we want to use that metaphor to think about what is an optimized environment for me. Excuse me. So if you practice these elements of just becoming aware of creating an optimized environment for yourself so you can reclaim your power, this now is how your optimized environment helps you to feel your peace and reclaim your power. When you have an environment that is yours, where you're the boss, okay, and you exercise your power to choose, which you've reclaimed in tip number 2, then what that environment allows you to do is occupy your space. Occupying your space allows the space in which you be to be for you, about you, okay, as opposed to the space being filled up with kids and bosses and social media and family members and friends and people knocking on your door or barging in. Do you see, like, your space now is about everybody else? That's not going to allow you to feel powerful, and it's not going to allow you to feel peace unless that's something that you want. Okay, then it's your choice. So, optimized environment allows you to occupy your space, a time and a space that is for you and about you. It also allows you to feel your peace and reclaim your power, because when you're occupying your space, the second thing that you get to practice is valuing your needs and your wants. Okay? In reclaiming your environment and allowing yourself to occupy your space, you get to start valuing your needs and your wants. Now, for some of us, that may be a foreign concept. We've been so disconnected from ourselves, our feelings, our sensations, our needs, our wants, or even our awareness of it, let alone permission, because it's been about everybody else, that this might be a very new, like, wow, my needs, my wants? Wow, that's like kind of a new concept. Now, valuing your needs and wants is different than just having them. Valuing means that you're actually going to pay attention. That's part of what is what occupying your space is about. It's like there's this space that I am and this space in which I exist, and there are needs in that space and wants in the space, and I'm going to be willing to start valuing them more than I have, perhaps. And there's always room for more valuing if you are feeling less than peaceful and less than powerful. So occupying your space becomes possible, valuing your space becomes possible, and then with that is the opportunity to explore how those needs and wants get to be met. When you claim your environment or reclaim your environment, you also start to move into the space of taking responsibility for your needs and wants being met. Now, taking responsibility for your needs and wants being met doesn't always mean that you have to meet them yourself, but you are responsible for becoming aware of them, because who else is going to be? You have to be the one who's aware of that. So when you reclaim your environment, that awareness now has room to reveal your answers and your truth. Okay? So that's what I wanted to offer you today. Tip number 3 to feel your peace and reclaim your power is to reclaim your environment. So I invite you to think about, what is one thing that you can do to reclaim your environment? Time in the day, space in your home, space in your life. I've had clients who feel like they have zero space for themselves start to find little, I call myself the human crowbar, by the way, if you have never heard me talk about that, because one of my jobs as a coach, because space is everything when it comes to receiving. You cannot receive anything new if the space that you are, if the bowl is full, there's no room. But when you start to make space, reclaim that space, now the bowl can receive something new. You can start to receive things that you couldn't receive before because your space was full before. Okay? So as a human crowbar, I start to look at where the cracks are in your life. Do you have space in the morning when you're brushing your teeth in the bathroom with the door closed? That might be a good time, instead of listening to the news or just playing some kind of random social media videos, to actually think, what would be more nurturing? Maybe I want to post some affirmations on my mirror and use that time. When you're driving in your car, are you distracted? Are you doing voice recognition to answer emails? Are you taking a lot of phone calls? Or is that the one time from your office to the house, or from the house to the grocery store, where you have space for you? And you might actually listen to a podcast, a lesson, a Rise and Receive that makes you feel better, that's nurturing to you. Okay? Think about how and where you can claim time and space without interruptions, with clear boundaries that are just for you. And think about, how could I make this space even more nurturing? Something that allows me to flourish rather than feel like my space is being occupied by other people. As you do this, as you make this a priority in your life, you are engaging in your capacity to feel more of your peace and reclaim your power. So I hope this was helpful. I'd love to hear. Please pass this along if it was. Like and share. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. Subscribe if you're on YouTube. And if you would like, come back for tip number 4. I will be back next Tuesday at 1:30 Pacific time with the next Rise and Receive. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you at the next video. Bye.